Good morning, beautiful spirit. Welcome back to the channel. This is Rector Arundel with Able Spirited Me, and I am Able. Om Soham Hansaha Swaha. We are in chapter 7, Daily Practices, and we are getting to a very, very big one. Now, you might hear me say multiple times that this might be the biggest one because they're all really important. Sexuality, this is a huge one. It was mentioned earlier that Kundalini has a sexual component, and this is because it is based in your lower chakras. When you save the energy in your lower chakras, you can build it up and it rises through your spine. Also, I just want to do a little plug here and say that that is your manifestation energy. The more energy you save sexually, the more your wishes, dreams, and aspirations will come to be in your reality. And it happens very quickly, so it's quite fascinating. So, celibacy is a very common practice in many religions, but most religions do a terrible job of explaining why. They just say, oh, it's a sin, don't do it. So, needless to say, that wasn't a sufficient explanation for me. A much better explanation is that the body uses a lot of energy in the reproduction pathway, and a lot of energy is used for both genders. Just think of how women athletes often have irregular periods and hormone imbalances because of their energy expenditure. And for men, it's actually even easier to see. Anytime you're putting anything out into your environment, you are using energy. If you are reacting to something, you're wasting energy. If you're moving a lot, you are wasting energy. If you're bleeding excessively, energy is leaving your body. And if you are ejaculating, you are losing energy very quickly. In fact, according to the Hindu text, there is an actual ratio of how many drops of blood are used to make so many drops of semen. Semen is much more condensed energy than blood. It is said to be 40 to 1. So the more you save, the faster you build your energy. In fact, it is rumored that 12 years of withholding your semen automatically guarantees enlightenment and siddhis. Now, this is a daunting idea for most men, at least modern men. However, small steps in the direction of a moderate sex life are very doable. For either gender, sexuality is sexuality is very distracting and attaches you more to this material world. It is temporary pleasure. So, let's address the elephant in the room, pornography. It is by far the biggest waste of semen and thought. It is always a significant waste of your time, and it keeps you attached more to physical nature. If you can't resist the temptation to orgasm, then it's especially unhelpful because you are wasting a lot of energy. Pornography, now, it absolutely does stimulate Kundalini. So if you are able to control yourself, you can actually use sexuality for energy work. Now, when aroused enough, you can feel tingles in your lower abdomen and pelvis, and it can be quite uncomfortable. Can you handle holding on to the energy without a release? If so, you could build energy in this way in theory. Also, it is said that your dreams are your subconscious. You can control your subconscious if you learn to control your conscious. The repetition becomes your subconscious reaction. In other words, even wet dreams will not be a problem if you learn to control your thoughts well enough while awake. In theory, you could enjoy sexuality, hold back your orgasm, and then not think about it at all until next time. It is said that yogis that can do this could have sex with millions of women and still become enlightened. And this actually does apply to both genders. I want to say this is not sexist, okay? As long as there's no orgasm, the energy is preserved. Now I say find out what you can handle personally. Can you hold back at the last minute and not orgasm? And this is actually where tantric sex comes into play. They hold back and experience what they say are, they hold back and experience what they say are multiple orgasms with either gender. Note, increasing Kundalini will increase your bliss. They're synonymous. Pure, strong flow of energy equals blissful sensations. Now, bliss and rapture are difficult concepts to understand, but you can literally have orgasmic waves of bliss flowing through your body by saving up your energy and Kundalini. Just imagine how it feels when you get a massage on your body or scalp. That type of feeling is bliss, and rapture is even more intense. It is said that all Atma have a special sense that is only realized when connected to Source. This means that true bliss and rapture are your reward for reconnection to Source. Enlightenment comes with eternal pleasure. I personally avoid all sexuality as much as possible because I find it extremely difficult to think about and to not indulge. I prefer to avoid it altogether and build the energy. This is because I have the ultimate goal in mind. Only you know what you can handle, right? So, wow, that's how the next paragraph starts. Only you can know what you can really handle in regard to holding on to sexual energy. Sexual energy is the most powerful energy we have, and if you can channel it correctly up your spine, it will give you the quickest Kundalini activation and path to enlightenment. Even Buddhist monks have been known to fantasize about certain deities in a sexual manner to help activate Kundalini. Now, they are, of course, not acting on it physically. If you can control your sexual nature, then you have very little to worry about with Kundalini activation because your lower nature is not an issue. Number 5, controlling your speech. Once again, this is important. This one could probably go first or near mantras. Controlling your physical body includes controlling your mouth, but they are often not associated because we speak so carelessly most of the time. Other than sexuality, our speech is our other strongest power normally. We can influence everything with our words. We can hurt people deeper with words than with physical pain, and it can last a lifetime. You can build people up, or you can tear them down. You can affect your environment and truly cause changes in reality, especially after a Kundalini activation. So you must learn to control your words, eventually. It is believed that Sanskrit is the original full language on Earth, and that it reflects the astral world because it encompasses every sound possible by a human. In other words, if you speak in Sanskrit, you are commanding the universe on a higher level than physical. And it is for this reason that many mantras are in Sanskrit. Now, whether or not that is true, it is certain that words have power, so use them carefully. And I put this later in the book because it is multifaceted. So, Part A, speak the truth. As you begin to speak only truth, your charisma is greatly increased. So again, the more Kundalini you have, the more charisma you have. Things happen automatically without too much effort. Again, charisma is a byproduct of Kundalini. People begin to believe your words because your vibration of honesty is apparent to the universe. This means that not only do people know your words to be true, but the universe begins to manifest your words automatically. Things, other atmas, or consciousness atoms, are drawn to you. Did you know that the Earth emits frequencies? It is actually true, and they're called the Schumann resonances. Are we drawn to it as souls? This power of attraction is actually a siddhi, and it becomes useful and manifests right away. So if you can, start being truthful right away. The things you want and say start to happen automatically. Part B, don't waste energy on things that don't merit it. Many people waste their energy on discussing things of no use, and gossip is number one. Gossip is absolutely never helpful. It may create some bonding in one group, but it is out of selfish thinking and ego-boosting defensiveness. So if you can, stop gossiping right away. It is said that a well-dressed idiot is perfectly disguised until he opens his mouth. I like that quote. So just think about what you're discussing. Is it something you discuss in all company? And is it something that will make you seem kind and loving, or the opposite? Part C. How about that? If you're going to speak, it should be kind. You do not need to say rude things. You can always find the best way to say everything. Nothing you say or do should be out of reflex thinking. Even criticism can be done productively, right? Part D. This is a tough one. One of the absolute hardest and most beneficial practices is to not talk unless requested. For most people, including myself, this practice is very unnatural and difficult to remember. It is most pungent and stings the most when someone reminds me that he or she is not interested in my thoughts or opinions in the first place. Almost no one is ever interested in what you have to say, really. I mean, just think about that. If they ask, they may be interested or just being polite. If they do not ask, there really is no point in wasting your time. When they ignore you or disregard your opinion, hurting your feelings, then that's actually a good thing from the higher perspective. Remember that your ego has been hurt, and the goal is to store the energy. So it is a double-edged sword. Talk if you want to experience others' judgment and disregard to your opinions. Keep quiet if you want to avoid the pain. This is a balance that requires a very acute awareness. And the last part of speech is a sort of a hack. And what I mean by that is not everyone will be interested in it, but I throw it in here because it is part of spirituality. There's a hack of sorts for all of these lifestyles, energy-saving changes that you may or may not be interested in. That is the belief in God. If you do believe in God, it is said that sacrificing all of your actions to God is the key to your liberation. This means that you should really only speak about God. Now, this is a very difficult one, which is why it is last in this section. However, you will find the shortcut come back in many other facets of the path. So, I'm not trying to tell anyone to believe in God, and I'm not trying to tell anyone what they have to do. Even I have a difficult time with this one. No one wants to talk about God all the time. But there are some very strong references back that say if you want to truly be liberated, you have to only talk about God and dedicate all things to God. So we'll get to that. This video is long enough for this section. We're going to continue on another video. Thank you for joining.